It's a long while since I've done a still life, and I find this one has got a classical feel about it. So I think I'll try and do this. So this isn't going to be a speed painting, I don't think. I'm probably going to do a lot of glazing on this, so there'll be multiple layers to try and get that classical look. So this is definitely not going to be a speed painting, and it may go across multiple sessions. So I think what I'll do is I think there's too much empty space down here, so I might reduce the size there, and I might change the proportions. I'm not locked into precisely what I'm seeing. What I like is the colour combinations, the reflection of light, the light reflecting in, the reds and oranges of the tomatoes, the whites of the garlic over there, and the yellow ochre and other earth colours of that traditional looking water ewer or whatever it is. Yeah, I just love the overall look of this photograph, so I'll use that loosely as the basis for what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to do any measuring up as such. I'll just start painting, I think. It'll be fundamentally using the Zorn palette, but if necessary I might use some different reds over here on the tomatoes to get some variation, but we'll see. So fundamentally the Zorn palette, which is, well, my Zorn palette will be titanium white, carbon black, spectrum red and yellow ochre. So let's get started. So I think the table top is going to be somewhere along here. The vase, the ceramic, round about here. It's not actually a circle, but that's the basis for it. It's more like that sort of shape. And this handle comes out and meets the top, something like that. Here we'll have a piece of garlic here, and the pile of tomatoes, something like this. And then this will be the underside of the table. So the light is actually unusually, it's coming in from the side over there. So what I'll do, which is what I normally do of course, is to work from dark to light and from back to front. So that background will be essentially black and yellow ochre. I think there's a tinge of red down here. Okay, that shape is slightly offset from the center, and it's counterbalanced by the red of those tomatoes. Let's start painting. So, I mean, one of the rules I tell my students, one of my rules, is to cover the surface with paint as soon as possible. Simply because you've got a much better idea of the tonal map of what you're painting, and if you're doing a lesson, it's very disheartening if after a couple of hours you don't seem to achieve very much. So from a psychological perspective, and as a visual aid to see how it's all hanging together tonally, my rule is to cover the surface in paint as soon as possible. In fact, I might even move to a bigger brush. Okay, that's rather blacker than I want, but at this stage it doesn't really matter, I don't think. I just want to cover the thing in paint. Okay, so that wood it's got some red in it. In fact, these rough paint strokes are giving it a kind of a woody effect anyway, which is good. And then there's the top of the wood there, and I can drag down some of that black to help with the shading that's behind there. So it looks like I'm making remarkable progress already. But really we're just creating that tonal map. This jug is yellow ochre. I mean, the fun part is going to be to do all these little marks that show its age, and then that lovely highlight. And the beauty of bits of ceramic like this is, you know, it's almost as if it's just a massive brushstrokes anyway. Now, I'm not going to be totally pedantic about copying these colours. I never am really. You know, if it looks good, then I'm going to be happy. Even if it isn't an absolute representation of whatever it is I'm painting. Whether it's a portrait. And I guess that's one reason why I don't like to do commissions of people's loved ones, because I don't particularly want to do absolutely perfect renditions of things. It's too much like hard work. It becomes work. And I've retired, so I certainly don't want to work. So that's the outside of that handle is a bit darker. And then the front is lighter. Right, the jug looks somehow more, it's got more feminine curves than I've given it, so. Right. That's a rough tonal map there. Let's get some white. Let's do that cork. There's a bit of a highlight in the front there. Right, let's get some spectrum red. Let's start to, yeah, that red is, it's not really a tomato red at this stage, but hey, I'll figure something out. So I'll try to exclusively use the Zorn palette, but I'm not going to be pedantic about it if it doesn't really fit the need. But I'm doing the underpainting at least using the Zorn palette. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing the underpainting. Just to cover it in paint, as I said. So I've got some kind of idea of the tones. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to move away from the Zorn palette, I think. I don't think I'll be able to do these tomatoes very convincingly with just yellow ochre. Oh, or maybe just a few highlights. Okay, so that is a tonal map. I've covered the entire thing in paint. I mean, somebody could walk away from a lesson and think, wow, I've really achieved something. You're well on the way to creating a masterpiece. I'll just put a bit of green down there for that green tomato, which is quite important. And the little highlight over there is going to make it much more interesting immediately. So, yeah, it's hanging together as a painting, I think. Is it too offset over there? No, I think once I put that bit of green there and that highlight there, and something a little bit more interesting over here, and a highlight over there, I think it's going to balance. So let's work on that premise. I like to put in the highlights because, well, that's the most exciting thing about painting to me. And you get a much better idea of how it's all going. Okay. Let's start doing it in more detail now. I'm steering a bit of this black paint over here to put in some shadow. So I think I'll cheat a little bit and get a straight edge. Well, that's not cheating. Let's do the top one. Oops. Stuffed it up a little bit, but hey, that's fine. Right, for a bit of interest, there's a few other little lines on the furniture. Something like that. I'm not normally very pedantic about these lines. In fact, I might just roughen it up a little bit. Okay. So there we have the outline, and I probably need to move to a smaller brush now. Right, the excitement in this painting is going to be driven by, well, things like all the subtle tonal variations there are on the wall. You know, all the little dings that have occurred over the ages. I mean, this is supposed to be obviously a period picture. So there's a few little dings in the wall. All the battering that's occurred over time on this pot. Yeah, it's got some sort of scar over there. A few little dings. It's all this sort of stuff that's going to make it look so interesting. So I'm doing a lot of random paint strokes over here just to get some kind of feeling for texture on this wall. But then I'll go over it with the big brush that will tend to merge it all together. Right, whilst I'm still using the Zorn palette, I mean, I haven't got a green in the Zorn palette, and I don't know how you can possibly make a green with those four colours. Right, I'll define some of the edges so we can see what's going on. So let's get down to a very small brush. I mean, obviously this line I'm drawing in doesn't exist, but it's just helping me to clarify where the shapes are going to be. And you're probably thinking, oh, you know, those colours are a bit intense. But so I'm gonna. All these lines will disappear in here. Yeah, I'll definitely have to do something besides the Zorn palette, because I can see little touches of green there, and as I said before, I really don't know how you're supposed to represent green effectively. Okay, so basically that's just the undercoat. I'm not sure how long that took. What, 3/4 of an hour, I suppose. I mean, if I was a student and I walked away from a lesson after having done this, I'd be very pleased with myself. Because from now on in, it's just a matter of refinement to try and capture what is exciting in this picture. And what is exciting in this picture really is the contrasts that you see between the darkness here and, say, the edge of that tomato. So I need to get that contrast in. And of course, the contrast between the darkness there and this big shape over here. So this area over here on my picture is rather broader. I see now that the edge of that bowl comes over that, more over here in relation to that tomato. But it doesn't matter. If it's not working, I could add something else over here. I mean, right now it's too much over to the right, but I can drag the attention back by increasing these highlights over here. This area over here is the area of interest. The light is flowing up to that highlight, and then it's flowing down and out again. So it's simply a matter of changing the tones and looking at the balance until you're happy. And when you're happy, that's it. Okay, thanks very much for watching.